Good morning, Geekdom. It's me, the Artisan MC, on my way to work in New Mexico. And I thought I would show you guys a little of the sights. Like, share, subscribe, support the stream if you feel so inclined. I got about a 20 to 30-minute drive. When I get actually close to where I'm going, we'll have to shut it off because they're not too friendly about that shit. But in the meantime, you got me, Mr. Raspy, for a couple minutes on this drive. And this would be a bad idea when I accelerate. Because I do not have a mount for my phone. But as long as I'm not hitting the brake and starting off, it's fine. So, probably can't zoom in, but a lot of you guys asked yesterday when I was doing the hero's journey what New Mexico is like, what the roads look like. Me and Beastly Nerd were talking about it. And this is what it looks like. It's flat. Flat, flat, fucking flat. But the sky is open to, which I find nice. Excuse me. I know somebody was asking, wanted some exact location of where I was in New Mexico, which I don't know why, especially being a person I don't know. But it's Clovis. And that's what we're saying. Just, it reminded me of Corcoran a little bit in California. And Corcoran is it's a prison town, basically. It's a town created with a prison for a prison, and the city sprung up around it, pretty much. So it's not much of anything there, and everything that is there is one for one. Everything is close together in there. So high school, middle school, elementary school, all within the same block. So that's what it looks like out here in New Mexico. That's what it gives me the feeling outside of the houses, because right now I'm driving through a bunch of brick-made single-story houses, which to me, coming from California, is interesting because you don't see a lot of brick-made shit because we are from shaky country. You can actually get killed in that crap. So we build our buildings a little bit differently. That's just the construction nerd in me understanding that. I'm on Tatooine. It's not as dry. I mean, all the brown you see is vegetation. It's just brown vegetation, just brown grass. It doesn't grow very high, apparently. It's just flat. The little weird shacks like that we just passed on the right, where it's just a shack out in the middle of nothing. Roof fell in and some other shit. You're like, who lived there? This looks like some old settler shit. But that's it. That's what it looked like driving into this motherfucker. That there was not really anything here to be seen. I was just listening to a little bit of Layman's Journal, and he went over an article that I found really interesting. I'm gonna have to look up the story, but about women becoming single mothers by choice. And I would say, no duh, that's been a given since the Gen X generation. That's been a given, especially afterwards. That's all they were doing it for. They never needed the man. I remember making, when I found out I was going to have my son, I wrote a rap called Happy Motherfucking Father's Day. And the rap was about understanding that role. I was never important in the situation. The important thing was just that she had a baby by the person she wanted to have a baby by. And the reason that was proven to me is because when she told me she was pregnant, she had already discussed it with her mother and her girlfriends and already had decided that it was okay if I decided to leave if I didn't want to. Like, what? You talk to two bitches you not fucking before you talk to me about something we did fucking and decide my future? And you were already okay with the idea, oh, you don't have to stay. How do you even get that option to tell me some shit like that? That's been happening for a while. For much of my life, that's always been the case. I believed. Oh, your father. I've never believed that shit. It's always the woman's choice. Because if it was the man's choice, most often I would believe he either took them damn kids from her. She just would have been out there still hot in the streets. Right? So, no. They do that shit so they can use that leverage against the man with the kids and use that to turn the kids against the man later on. Now, the heartbreaking part about the story that Layman's Journal was talking about was that single mom with 3 kids that she raising by herself, no daddy mentioned in the picture. The oldest boy in there was having a apparently bad day. Nobody knew how to defuse a man with some actual positive energy. They just sitting there trying to domineer him, apparently. And his older sister, who was a single mama there as well in the same house with her single mama, tried to bear hug her younger brother in his teens and she in his 20s. This is the part where I think the story should focus on, not so much the single motherhood, because the single motherhood is how you get to this problem. But on the repercussions of women trying to step into a man's face and behave like a man in that situation. That was the last shit that boy needed at that moment. Because apparently he's surrounded and drowned in estrogen energy already. That was not what he wanted. That was not what he needed to calm the fuck down. So much so, it was proven. The one person in that whole house who was trying to jaw jack with his ass back and forth and then try to put physical hands on him was the motherfucker that ended up dead. Because that's how it goes with men. Now, what ended up happening was the woman tried to muscle him down to the ground to prove how much of a man he wasn't and how much more dominant she was in that situation. And it went the other way. He rolled, got on top, like men learn how to do. You learn how to fight. Either somebody in your household is going to teach you or the streets will. He got on top, reversed, and choked her ass the fuck out. And kept her in the chokehold. Because he was just in the red. And that's what I call it when a man finally just snaps the fuck off and loses his senses of what the hell is going on. You go in the red. I've gone in the red on my little brother. And it didn't matter who was in that house, his friends or anything. They was all terrified. My brother was terrified. Because that little bullshit he was doing might have passed every other time. At that day, that was too fucking much. He didn't realize when he had woke up. And when he saw it, he was terrified. That's what happened with this fucking female. His older sister died in his arms because he choked that bitch out and didn't stop choking her till the police showed up. Because as men logic goes, if somebody tries something with you and put hands on them, you keep kicking their ass till somebody pull you off of them. Nobody could pull him off his sister. Because it's a bunch of estrogen having, we like to talk bad, but we can't do shit people in the house. His younger brother, younger siblings, and his mama can't do shit with that boy. And yes, that's where the story pivots on. You don't need to be raising no goddamn kids by yourself, especially not no boys. You are not equipped to deal with that shit. You are not equipped. One sec. Your ass needs to have some support there, and not just to have somebody to be beating on your child and muscling them down. Just something that's a little bit of a deterrent that could put up a little bit more fight than your ass could. Because you are not skilled and not on the right side of the biological scale to be muscling with no teenage boy. The adult female, the other adult female in the house, which is his big sister, you saw how that shit worked out for her. That is not your place. That is the father's place. It's like, what's going on? Come on, let's go outside. All right, hold tight for a minute. I got to do this checkpoint situation. Hold tight. Day after a holiday, this gate is long. Like my Johnson. Like my Johnson is long. The gate is long. But they weren't equipped for that situation. And that's why somebody died in it. Because after a point, what's the woman going to do? The mother, the supposedly authority figure in the situation, what the hell she going to do? She going to step the hell back and save her ass and watch her child be killed in her face, in her house. You are not the protector. All right. I am back. Got in the wrong lane. Cut across some traffic. So in that situation, which is a tragedy, god damn, dude, really? It was more so a tragedy because that situation could have been avoided, had a couple of things happen, but because, like I've said many times before, Women who didn't grow up with no father in the house don't necessarily understand how to deal with men anyway, especially nowadays. They don't. They don't know shit about men outside of they have penises and they can help me make babies and pay for shit. They know nothing about what it takes to be a man. They know nothing about the temperament of men. They don't know how to soothe the savage beast. None of that shit. He's just supposed to be there to be a tool. That's what happens when you get shit like that. It is. If me and my brother in our teenage, youth were fist fighting in the house, there wasn't a goddamn thing my mother could have did to stop it. Not a thing. All she could do was call the police or try to kick somebody out. But the minute she started swinging on somebody and we in the red, she would have got hit. Love her or not, she would have got hit. Because that's what happens with men getting their rages like that. Everybody can catch it. The hands are E for everybody and non-discriminatory. It does not matter. Stop fucking touching me, leave me the hell alone. Because that is our fight behavior. It's not just flight, it's fight. Women get to run. Men gonna have to stay and fight some shit. So that situation with that boy and his sister, that was terrible. Terrible, terrible. And all that female energy was not dispensed any better than when he showed up in court and there was a female judge there sentenced his ass to life at 16 years old. What do you think he was bristling against the whole time? Because he just had a dearth of female energy? No, he had too much of it. Too much of it around him. And apparently it wasn't helping him. He couldn't effectively talk to him, I can tell you that much. So that shit was sad. That was a sad ass fucking story. What's good with you, Malika? What do you say, Artisan? Show on stage. Let's see. Funny, these females don't want husbands and fathers early when conceiving, but want a stepfather when the child is older and want a son husband or a daughter wife when they're old. Well, yeah, because it's about benefit for them. Because none of this shit, the way white boys have set this country up, is actually set up to really be beneficial for men. It's actually set up to be beneficial for women. It is. You find you the right dude who'll take care of all of the shit for you. And you provide for him as a secondary conversation, not part of the first conversation. And how twisted it is nowadays is that's all it is. All it is about benefit for them. There is no benefit to having you in the house with them because then they might have to listen to you or they get to buck with authority and stuff like that. She don't get to live her mother goddess fantasies. If you there, no. Why she want to listen to you? Like I use my mother for an example. Why she's never been married. She ain't never been married because she don't want to have to listen to no damn man. But like Psycax was pointing out on Layman's stream, the video he's playing, they listen to their boss though. Yeah, they do. Because the boss pays them. They had no problem listening to that motherfucker, listening off all his good points. But your ass can kiss theirs. It's a shift in respect. She already knows she doesn't have to respect you, and she doesn't because she wants nothing from you but what you have between your legs. The seed. That's what makes her a full-grown woman in some senses. She don't get to be mother of the universe if she's never impregnated with shit. So they can deny it all they want to, but biologically they already know you don't get to send to this other spot until you get something from me. And yes, Malika, that is the result of hyena culture because that's exactly what it is. Angry Man has broken this down years ago, how the Black community operates as hyena culture. We know this. You know it to be true because you live it yourself. So the few that escape that shit and can get out of that mind state can end up being some productive men, being the patriarchs of their family and the heads of their household and shit. But you don't get out unscathed, I can tell you that much. You don't. Because it comes with a lot of having to push people away. And their ideas and their influence and all the rest of that shit. You might have to go it alone. All together. And build your shit up from the ground up yourself. Because it's not going to be built on that foundation that spawns you. You can't. You might have been the lucky one out of 3 to make it. You're not going to go back and rebuild that same kind of fucking structure to have your kids running that same gauntlet. The fuck? No. Nah. The problem is, it seems like it's more of that kind of shit out there where they will try, if you have a successful family, they will come in and try to fuck it up to turn it into they hyena culture shit. So it's rough. It's a rough deal. It can be done, but it is a rough deal. Yeah, I'll show you guys something. Let's see. That's the field I was out in yesterday. I was telling you guys about. See that shit? Just open. Some trees, no leaves, way out in the distance. Excuse me. I still got some flip. So, what up, AB? Yeah, that was a sad story. And my thinking is psychologically the story is more interesting to go into on why that boy actually got to the point of choking out his sister and not seeing her as his sister anymore. That's the more psychologically interesting part. The social part is the fact that this is a single mother-led household where she can't control her son, right? The more interesting thing is, why did the older sister think putting hands on her younger brother was going to be the move? Oh, she just tried to get him in a bear hug. No, she grabbed him and tried to dominate him. And any pissed off man knows the last thing you ready to do, unless you're ready to fucking throw down, is put any hands on his ass. See, this is the difference. Men kind of respect people's boundaries. Right? Even if you pissed off with a dude, there's a couple of things he could do, and that shit can go away. The first one is stop fucking talking to you. Just shut up talking to me. Right? The second one is don't put your fucking hands on me. Because any of the two that goes in that opposite direction is going to go escalating it further, right? The sister is already in there yelling with the brother, trying to argue him down. I'm sure he told her once or twice either to shut the fuck up or stop fucking talking to me. Words to that effect. It might not have been gentle. It might not have been, can you please, use your words and stop yelling at me? No, I'm sure it wasn't that shit. But words to the effect were said, if you don't stop talking to me, something bad is going to happen to you. I'm sure they were said, because men will give you a warning. Now, the next thing that happened that proves that this shit wasn't being listened to, she tried to dominate, she grabbed him. And the story says she tried to give him a bear hug. That's somebody trying to soften some language. What the fuck is this woman going to bear hug a teenage boy going to do? Smother him in love? She ain't a fucking Care Bear. A bear hug? What was your plan after the bear hug? That you was just going to crush his arm and make him submit? He can't break out of second Big Mama's grip, so he's just going to calm down? Out of your fucking mind. He about to fight. He about to go full on. He is about to go full on. And your ass wasn't ready for that shit. You didn't have a plan afterwards, just like he didn't have a plan afterwards. Because his plan was to get you to stop doing whatever the fuck you was doing to him, and choking you out was the way to neutralize you from doing that shit. And that's why he held that shit till it was too late. Too late. And the response tells you that he was, out of it, was that he didn't think he was holding her that hard. Because what's the thing with teenage boys and kids? They don't know their own strength. The reason you don't know your own strength because you're never matched up next to men or grown men. That's why you don't know your strength. If that situation would have happened with a man in the situation, it ain't even got to be his fucking father. A 21-year-old man with this teenage boy, and the situation played out the same, I don't think you would have ended up with one person dead. You wouldn't have. Because as soon as the 21, you would have understood some strength. And if they got to tussling, he would have had to contend with that shit. Somebody who can take what he's trying to give out. And can actually exert more force on him than he was ready to accept. That's the problem. Women can only, I've said this to women before, raising single mothers, raising boys. You can only try to beat that boy down for so long. You cannot stop him from being a man. Biology is going to push him to be a man. You might want to be on the right side of that shit. I'm not saying be scared of him, but there's certain things you cannot do. And one of them is keep trying to think you big and bad and go to intimidate him like you a man. That's not happening. He understands that after a point, especially after testosterone and puberty hits, your power is waning. Your power is waning. Oh, he plays sports. He played football. Oh, he played football. So he running up against other boys and understand what it means to be hit hard. And who can take it and who can't. He looking at you. You know you can't take that shit. He knows you cannot take that shit, especially if you the short, big, round type. You know, goddamn well you ain't taking that. The only thing that keeps him from putting his hands on your ass is love for his mama. That's it. So maintain low tones and cultivate a calm demeanor. Because that big and bad, I'm gonna be the masculine woman to him, is not it. Secretly, we hate that shit. As teenage boys, we hate that shit. And we would love somebody to kick your ass because it's illegal for us to do it. I'm just putting that shit out there. Nobody likes that shit. That's why you see grown men out in public. They don't like them burly ass bitches who be talking to dudes like that. They don't like it. It takes them back to a memory when they didn't like it. No. But I'm like to say, the sister learned the domineering behavior from her mother, and then the other hyenas in her community. Most black females are raised and think they can dominate black men. Yeah. And black men are raised to believe that that's supposed to be the go-to. That's supposed to be the standard. No, it's not. Your biology tells you that's not the standard because your biology will tell you no. You'll feel it. You'll feel it in you like, fuck no. That natural response that comes from you from the inside that you didn't have to say, and you hear some women barking at you like that, and that response is like, fuck her, that is your natural male biology kicking in. It's not your feelings, it's your male biology telling you this is not fucking right. Hell to the no. Bitch, who is you talking to? It's the same thing when you hear from a man. That voice that comes out of you from the inside of you, if you're paying attention to yourself, that is your natural biological voice. That is your male instincts. I told my mother this before about what I figured out from my teens to my 20s, and it was all the reprogramming you have to do as a male to get into your male thinking brain and out of your female thinking brain, which you were raised in, to make mama's life easy. You have to get out of that shit because your male brain will tell you different things. You may do some of the same things, but not for the same fucking reasons. not for the same reasons. So that reprogramming process is what happens when you're supposed to be away from women. Go off to college, go to the military, get around a bunch of men so you can start purifying yourself as a water lake masculinity. That's what you're supposed to be doing. But when you still at that age and you still soaking in the estrogen cesspool, it starts fucking with you. And that's what makes you so fucking angry, because you know you're living in a glass fucking house. Nobody can take your rage. Nobody. You're walking around like Superman, a tense muscle all the time. And you can't do anything because everything will break around you. That's a pressure cooker. Somebody was bound to feel it. If it wasn't sister, you sent his ass outside and somebody was jawing the same way at him, it would have been a fight then too. Only difference is somebody might not have died. That's the only difference. Might not have died. So that was a sad fucking story, but there's multiple layers and things that were going on in that shit that made it bad. And it wasn't just because, for me, it wasn't just because he was in a single mother household. The single mother household led to that shit going that bad. Because trust and believe, my son has been in his room pissed, heated. Can feel the energy, man. It's a disturbance in the force. What's going on with you? Nothing. Man, what's going on with you? I'm asking you. I care about you. What is going on with you? I don't want to talk about it right now. Let's go for a ride, man. Come with me. I need to go to Home Depot. Let's go. Oh, get your shit. Let's go. You coming with me? Get out of this house for a while and just see what the fuck is going on. Defusing the bomb. Defusing the bomb. But most women don't care about the men around them. The men they say they love, they don't care. That's why they never know how to defuse that bomb. My ex-wife was good for that. She'd piss me off and didn't want to be running away from me. You need to stop winding the motherfucker up. I'm not about to do anything to you, but goddamn it, you're gonna leave me the fuck alone. Don't keep pestering me. So they don't learn. They don't learn that shit. And it's mostly not because I don't think they don't care to it. Nobody was there to really teach it to them. They don't fucking care to learn it. They don't need to. They'll be all right. Because his actions and his inactions are always his fault. Never hers whatsoever. And I got exes, that's the reason they exes, for that very reason. No accountability on your behavior. None. None. Look, man, I'm not a pimp. It is not my job to be out here controlling bitches the whole day. I got other shit to do. More important. More interesting to my time. I ain't got time to be doing all this shit. You need to know how to maintain yourself. I need a cactus, not a hothouse flower. Sorry. I maintain myself without a lot of shit. Diffusing the bomb is a sign of masculine energy and problem solving. It is, which is, if you know, I'm just calling a spade a spade. You know, women, that is not their job. That is not their forte, the problem solving, the reasoning. Intuition is supposed to be their deal, which is they can feel something's off. Diffusing it could be their deal too, if, and this is if, they have more feminine energy than masculine energy. I've never seen a feminine woman have a problem calming down a dude when he is pissed. When he is absolutely pissed. I've never seen them have a problem doing that shit. But these burly acting bitches that want to have more masculine energy than anything, and it don't matter how they look. She can look like a whole 10, but be talking to you like another fucking dude. It's not going to work. It's going to ring false in his masculine ears, and his maleness about him is going to want to stomp your ass out because it is a weak challenge. And instinctually, he recognizes that. This motherfucker faking. This is bullshit. This motherfucker can't. You're not going to be able to take it there with him. You're not. That physicality is not going about to be your thing. So if you ain't got no honey words, you better shut the fuck up. Because there is nowhere else you about to go with that dude. You don't have that conversation. That's why they love calling the police on your ass. Because then they can calm you the fuck down. Nobody want to get shot or choke the fuck out. So that's my final thoughts on that. I'm gonna get out of here and get clocked in and get the day started. Happy y'all got to see a little bit of my New Mexico visit. I'll try to put up some little pictures today. I took a lot on my work phone, but not a lot on my personal phone because I was doing other shit, geek shit. I had some hardcore geeking to do, man. I'm in a new settings, man. I need to, hit some stops. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. But till then, I've been Artisan MC, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.